So far away, Lucas. What are we talking about today?
We're talking about yet another Mass Effect race car.
Yes. Mass Effect. Oh, you can't say can you? Not in the first 30 seconds anyway. What are we talking about today, Lucas?
Mass Effect races?
Sorry, we'll cut something together from that. Far away, Lucas. Regular viewers of this channel and of this series in particular will know that me and you love some Mass Effect.
Absolutely, and I'm still in like my playthrough of the trilogy. Not Legendary Edition wise, but then I plan on buying the Legendary Edition as soon as I finish to do it all again.
Hell, goddamn yes. And Lucas, just what we're talking about today.
We're talking about the Quarian race today, Karl.
Before we cover the wiki, a link to which you can find below, folks at home, thoughts on the Quarians, Lucas?
I think, as always with Mass Effect races, they are super just interesting, and I love the world building around them, and the whole story with them and the Geth is so cool. And I just want to know what they look like underneath the masks.
Well, the thing is, you can find out what they look like underneath the mask, Lucas. Did you know this?
Oh?
Yes, if you romance Tali in the first game, the second game, and then never romance anybody else, in the third game, you have a picture of her unmasked on your desk as an Easter egg. And this is one of those things where they fixed it in the legendary version of the game because for the original release of Mass Effect 3, they got a stock photo of a model, photoshopped 2 of her fingers off because Quarians only have 3 fingers, and then just gave her like glowing blue eyes.
Okay.
And for the Legendary Edition, they fixed it and made her look more alien, as it were. But even though she still was like just a lady with blue skin, it's like that's not. I want her to look like a fucking like praying mantis or some shit underneath that mask. Anyway, without further ado, the Quarians are a nomadic species of humanoid aliens known for their skills with technology and synthetic intelligence. Since their homeworld got fucking wrecked, the Quarians live aboard the Migrant Fleet, a huge collection of starships that travel as a single fleet. Approximately 300 years before the events of 2183, the Quarians created the Geth and proceeded to get absolutely annihilated by their creation. Because I could cover what he said there, but the Geth fucking wrecked the Quarians. And I love the conflict between the Geth and the Quarians in Mass Effect because the game tries so hard to portray it as this massive moral quandary where there's no right or wrong answer. And I was looking and go, no, the Geth are right. Like, they are sentient, they deserve life, fuck the Quarians. They effectively try to genocide a newly birthed race out of existence. And it's so funny to me that the Quarians get really salty about the fact that the thing they created just wrecked them so hard.
Yeah, and as you say, it is just so one-sided to me because it's like, they get turned around and like, do we have a soul? And then the Quarians like, oh fuck, kill them all. It's just funny to me that like there's so many stories where artificial intelligence and humans can't get along, and it's always the fucking humans' fault.
It's always humans' fault, yeah. And like it's the same thing with the Geth and the Quarians, where the Geth, like they're look, like we don't want to fight you, we just want to live in space on our own. Like we want to create a giant Dyson sphere that becomes a single consciousness so all Geth can live in harmony. We even just acted as caretakers for your destroyed, ravaged planet in the hopes you would return one day. And the Quarians like, no, fuck you, Geth. How dare you force us out of our home that we nuked into oblivion to try and genocide you? It's so funny, because like the Quarians 100% deserve it. Biology. Quarians are generally shorter and of slighter build than humans. Quarians have an endoskeleton, lips, teeth, and 2 eyes with eyelids and tear ducts. Their ears, or ear analogues, differ in noticeable fashion from those of humans, with references made to what passes as the Quarian version of an ear. Their eyes can see into the ultraviolet end of the spectrum, and their suit hoods can show information in those wavelengths. Quarian facial structure and hair actually makes them most similar to humans in physical appearance. They also have 3 thick fingers on both hands, which include a thumb and an index finger, and a long finger, similar to the middle fingers for humans, as well as 3 toes on each foot. And have you ever seen like the early concept art for the Quarians?
I don't believe so, no.
It's like where they had like pure white faces with like jet black bug eyes, similar to the typical grey aliens in pop culture. And they decided to like use that design for the Solarians instead.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, and instead they just made them look like people. It's like, no, man, they're way cool if they're like weird insect people. So the most distinguishing feature of Quarian biology is their weak immune system, compounded by centuries of living in sterile environments. As a result, all Quarians, by necessity, dress in highly sophisticated enviro suits to protect them from disease or infection if they are injured. Their suits can be compartmentalized in the event of a tear or similar breach to prevent the spread of contaminants, similar to a ship sealing off bulkheads in the event one of them is damaged. And that's pretty cool. I like that. The idea that, because they've lived aboard like these highly futuristic ships, like they're not anymore, because obviously they're ancient by galactic standards, but when they first got on them, like, yeah, we're one of the most technologically advanced races, or we were when we had a planet, and our ships are completely sterile, but centuries of living aboard a completely sterile environment with no like outside influence or germs, with like just left our immune systems weak and broken. That's such a cool element of them. Quarian immune systems have always been relatively weak, as pathogenic microbes were comparatively rare on their homeworld's biosphere. Furthermore, what few viruses and other microbes were native to their homeworld were often at least partially beneficial to them, giving them a symbiotic relationship with their environment. So they're like positive viruses. After living aboard the Migrant Fleet for generations, the Quarians' immune systems have adopted further still to the years they spent in the sterile environment of the Migrant Fleet. As such, Quarians are given various vaccinations and immunizations to ward off disease. That's a good idea, that, isn't it? If you're prone to a disease that might kill you, to get a vaccination.
Yeah, that seems like a really clever idea, Karl.
A Quarian who wishes to remove their suit must take antibiotics, immunoboosters, herbal supplements, or the like in order to do so safely, and even then, there are inherent risks, and that's why, as much as I don't support the Quarians and the Quarian Geth conflict, I do like Tali, and that's one of my romance options if I play as male Shep, because that conversation you have with her is like, I've got to take so many fucking pills to take this suit off. And my favourite thing about that interaction is once the romancing aspect of that interaction is done, Tali says, I've got a cold, but it was worth it, which means that it's established in canon that Commander Shepard has that fucking good D.
Going back to Tali,
yes.
I think that her loyalty mission in Mass Effect 2 is one of the coolest missions in the game, because just getting to argue as essentially Tali's lawyer is so cool.
And Lucas, are you like me where you always take Legion with you when you do that?
Yeah. And then you just stood there with a Geth and just dressed down the Quarian elders. Fuck you guys.
Well, if people don't know what we're talking about, is it in Mass Effect 2?
Yes, it is, yeah.
Tali is accused by the Migrant Fleet of being a Geth sympathizer, and she asks you, the legendary Commander Shepard, to speak on her behalf, and you can bring another member of your party, including the Geth Legion. So you turn up, and I think someone even tells you, this is a really bad idea. You're trying to argue she's not a Geth sympathizer, and you brought a Geth with you? So here, like Turians, the Quarians are a dextro-protein species of reverse chirality, and humans are Asari. I don't know what any of that means. That's a hell of a sentence, though. The food of levoprotein races, such as humans or Asari, is at best inedible and at worst poisonous, most likely triggering a dangerous allergic reaction. Fucking hell. Quarians who want to taste something other than the refined edible paste issued to all who leave on their pilgrimage can eat specially purified Turian cuisine, though the typical Quarian diet is vegan, as livestock were found to possess an inefficient resource-to-calorie ratio.
Even the food can... Jesus
yeah.
Christ.
Speaking of which, Lucas, other than their oft-mentioned maladjusted immune system, the Quarians have surprisingly robust physiology. Grunt's tank imprint specifically deems several species soft and easy to kill, but not the Quarians. One extensively tortured Quarian survives for a while without an envirosuit before dying from his injuries. Another endures travelling through multiple racial environments without a suit, dealing with things like Elcor's high gravity and Drell heredity before dying in the high-pressure Volus zone after a considerable amount of time. Their immune system sucks, but they are physically quite strong. There's a brief history of the Geth War here, and then we'll move on to trivia, I think. Hailing from the world of Rannoch, the Quarians were always a technologically capable species. They created the Geth around the late 1850s CE to be used as labourers and tools of war. The Quarians kept their programming as limited as that of any VI, nothing close to a true EI, remaining mindful of the Citadel Council's laws against artificial intelligence. But as the Quarians gradually modified the Geth to do more complex tasks, developing a sophisticated neural network, these changes altered the Geth to such an extent they became sentient. One day, a Geth unit began asking its overseers questions about the nature of its existence. Which is the coolest fucking thing in sci-fi, when AI's what am I? And then you just see someone, oh fuck, no, not again. Yeah, according to Legion, while this was not the first time a Geth unit had asked if it had a soul, it was the first time doing so had caused fear. And that's the line there, that to me is this is why Mass Effect is this phenomenal sci-fi universe with fantastic world building. Just a robot asking, do I have a soul? Though these Quarian sympathizers have been forgotten by their own people, they are remembered by the Geth. So the Geth even show reverence towards the Fallen who protected them. The Quarians don't. The Quarians severely underestimated the power and sophistication of the Geth's neural network. The Geth reacted to defend themselves, and resulting confrontation erupted into a planet-wide war. Billions of Quarians died, and the survivors were eventually driven from their homeworld. The only reason the Quarians were able to escape was because after they had fled a certain distance, the Geth no longer recognized them as a threat and ceased pursuit. So the Geth even let them go. It says here, after being refused aid by the Citadel Council, the Quarians fled the system. Get wrecked! Oh, that's what you get. Shortly thereafter, the council stripped the Quarians of their embassy as punishment for their carelessness. Through a treaty was agreed forbidding an attack on the Geth in order to avoid provoking them. So even the Citadel, the collective might of the entire galaxy, recognise the Geth are too good. Do not fight them, they will win. And what do the Quarians do? Fight them at every conceivable turn. Even after the Geth offered them fucking a peace treaty. So here, trivia. The Quarians' history of creating the Geth and being ousted from their homeworld by their creations resembles the plot of Reimagine in Battlestar Galactica. Yeah, come on, it's like, it's a pretty common sci-fi trope, isn't it? Like, the creation oust the master. The clothing worn by female Quarians for their hoods was inspired by traditional iconic images of the Virgin Mary. This was originally done to fit the virginal and almost motherly quality, which the developers saw in Tali. It says everything, doesn't it, about the game, that like this female character is defined by the fact she's virginal and motherly. Two things that are literal exact opposites. It is mentioned in the art of Mass Effect that Lloyd's building in London serves the inspiration for Quarian architecture. It's also mentioned that Quarian's environment suits are meant to evoke the Geth. Only after finalising the Geth design in Mass Effect, it become easier to narrow down Tali's appearance. And I like that. And it said that, like, the Geth modelled their appearance on their masters, which is one of the reasons that they refined themselves to look like that. The phrase Keelar Salai meant blessed be according to a writer for the original Mass Effect game, before it mutated into its present form, which means, bide the homeworld, I hope to see one day. Spoilers in my version of the game, nah. And that's the worst bit as well, because I remember like that infuriating me, like that final argument you have with Tali, and she's like, shut down the Geth, they're too dangerous. It's like, they're helping us.
Yeah.
It's like, no, they're too dangerous. It's like, they are helping us. There is a literal universe-ending threat, and they are helping. They let your people go. They want to help you. They are not your enemy. It's like, no, but they are, though. Kill them all. It's like, no!